Hey everybody, and welcome to the first ever commentary gameplay breakdown type of video that we're doing on this channel, where we're just going to look at my rough Abrams gameplay and just show you some of the things that I like to do during a match in order to try and win these games on Abrams. This is a video that's meant to go together with the build video that I posted yesterday, just to give you an example of how to play these games out, what to do from a practical standpoint, because, you know, just giving you the build and giving you some tips, that is one thing, but knowing what to do and how to play, I think that is another thing. Now, I think both of these games, in both of these games, the laning phase that I had was a little bit rough. I think in this game, I just woke up. It was one of the first games that I played in the day, so you'll see me, you will see me eat a lot of these Geist nades here, not really properly dodging them, not really positioning properly. And then in the second game, I believe I was playing with my wife now. Okay, well, that guy's just... This is the best example of why you do not step up against an Abrams in the lane, because the moment that he gets his stun, he can just punish you for it. I do not know what that Geist was doing. Probably also one of his first games. That is just... yeah, it was probably a pretty early time on the EU servers. So, yeah, take that as you will. But yeah, so this game, I'll try a little bit harder. This game is, I am in tryhard mode. I am just not fully woken up yet. And then the second game is a little bit more laid back, I think. But that is, I think, the most recent game that I played before the patch. So it's just the most recent game that I have in my library right now. So yeah, laning phase as Abrams in the dual lane is a tiny bit slower. That is mainly because Abrams does not have his, he doesn't have much poke. So unless the enemies make a very large mistake, like the guys just did a minute ago, Abrams usually doesn't have a lot of opportunities to punish them. Like if they sit under their guardians at this point of the game, it usually becomes a bit harder to do much. I did go for a headshot booster and monster rounds, so I do have some of that ranged poke if you've watched the guide. And I will be able to dive their towers momentarily once they step up a little too much, because the monster rounds does give me 35% damage resistance against even the Guardian. But so far, they're playing pretty far back. I'm doing an okay job at denying. I wouldn't say I'm doing a great job, like what was that melee? But so far, I think we're winning the lane pretty hard. That is mostly because I'm also in the lane with a pocket. Pocket makes up for a lot of the weaknesses that Abrams has, honestly. Pocket generally has a lot of poke in the lane, a lot of burst damage, at range even, and that is what the Abrams is lacking. So Abrams is very good in the dual lane with any hero that has a lot of poke, because that means that the enemies get poked down if they stay at range, and then if they walk up, well, you see what happened to the guys. That's also a pretty bad time. So yeah, nothing too much going on right now, just making sure that we get the gold vases, that we push the waves back. I went for close quarters and melee lifesteal here, just so that I have a lot more sustain. The close quarters also works on your melee. It adds 15% melee damage, pretty much guaranteed. And together with melee lifesteal, which also heals you off of a percentage based off the melee damage that you've done, it's just a really good combo to pick up early up if you lack sustain. You can just heavy melee the minion wave, just like that, and get a whole bunch of health back. So now we're actually so far ahead in the lane because we've done such a better job at denying their XP and poking them away, that we now have our ultimates. And I suspect, there we go. I was like, I suspect that I will try to go for an ult play here. Now, unfortunately, that was not the best ult I've ever had. I was not able to get a kill with that. But regardless, we were able to take down the tower because of it. We took down the wave and we just won the lane in 4 minutes. Could have been a little bit faster with our comp versus their comp, especially because Hayes usually takes some time to get online. She's not too strong early on in the lane. And I probably should have gone for a kinetic dash here, but sprint boots, man, they are just so good for making rotations. And now that we've won our lane, the first thing I'm going to look to do is to push my neighbor lane. And I got greeted with a raid ult that I don't know why she did that. A little bit of a risky fight there. She popped Infuser, went for card builds. I did not check that beforehand. But regardless, I think the sprint boots actually saved my life there, because they gave me just the amount of health that I needed to not get bursted down. And I go for Berserker here. Now that's an interesting one. I think that's because I already have the sprint boots and I'm not planning to take any camp soon or to rotate too far to the other side of the map. So in this case, I went Berserker over Kinetic Dash just because, yeah, I'm going to have to play defense in this lane a lot. Like, I think my teammate at this point told me, Sleepy, the guy I'm playing with, that they're pushing this lane still very heavily. Despite us already beating the lane and taking the Guardian, they want this back. So, because I feel like I'm not going to be rotating for the next 1 to 2 minutes, I decided to just take Berserker and play off of that and see if I can build up some Berserker stacks to maybe try and punish them for it, which is what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get close to them, but I think Haze hit a really good sleep dart on me, so I was stunned there for 3 seconds. Yeah, maybe Kinetic Dash would have been the better play here, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. We are losing blue lane, so ideally, I think what I should have done here is probably rotated to blue lane, help them out, but then maybe yellow would have been pushed. Sometimes you just get put in these positions where it's only really obvious what you should have done after the fact. And here, I get instant rate ulted again. Not that it matters too much, we can still get the kill on her. If I had the unstoppable there, then obviously I wouldn't have been stunned, but that wasn't the case yet. She tried to get away. Anyway, the goal right now becomes to just push out the lanes, get all the towers. I think I've realized it here as well that I probably should have just gone blue. And yeah, here I go blue. So once you start to win your lane with Abrams, once you create space, you want to make sure to help out your teammates as fast as possible, because not everybody might have such an easy matchup as you do. Some players might have a lot more trouble. Maybe they're laning against a Shiv or a Grey Talon or Bebop. Those are very hard to push into. But basically, Abrams' job, as soon as he arrives on a lane with an extra body, he's able to apply so much more pressure into the lane, force the enemies to back further, and that usually allows you to take the towers much faster. I think I call out here that I'm going to purple now, the only lane that does not have the Guardians taken away yet. And I'm going for a gank on the Bebop. So it's important to take these towers for a bunch of reasons, other than just, you know, winning the lane. You want to take these for the souls. I think they give 250 souls per player or something in that ballpark, but it does give it to every player in the game. So taking all of those 4 towers away, that is 1,500 per tower, which equals to about 6,000 souls if you take all of those. An edge of 6,000 souls over your opponents. Don't quote me on that, I still have to do the math on that. But it's a lot of souls. But also the most important part is that you just create so much space for your team to go and do their jungle, to gank around the place. They have to play so much further back if they don't want to die, basically. Usually they have to sit under their walkers if you have a lot of map pressure. And let's see what I'm doing here. I bought Kinetic Dash for the flag slot that I have now. I think I'm gonna look for a pick here and try to push yellow, because I see a lot of opponents playing on the other side of the map. So I think at this point of the game, I'm like, I've recognized that the opponents are stacking up on the purple and the blue lane, possibly because that is where we took the last tower. So they're still kind of lingering there to see if there's a lot of pressure there. I think I recognized that, and I just decided to help my teammate out and get the walker on the other side of the map. Basically, ooh. Do I get that kill? Oh my god, that was throw of the century right there. Just close your eyes, everybody. Just pretend that I hit every stun there. Not that it's gonna matter. We still got the kill. I think we overstay quite a little bit here. My teammate dies, but you know, as Abrams, I get out because I have a lot of sustain, quite some mobility, playing a little bit like a pussy, but you know, whatever it takes to win the game. A win is a win, no matter how you get it. So I pick up Healing Booster here. I suspect... No, I don't pick up Healing Booster here. I pick up Bullet Resist Shredder. Probably because I want to go take some camps. Yes, there we go. So Bullet Resist Shredder is a great item for taking camps early, because you can use your Siphon Life on the camp, and then together with Kinetic Dash, which I probably use here. Do I not use the Kinetic Dash? I probably should have meleeed those camps. You can melee all those camps at the same time. Not optimal. But yeah, using Kinetic Dash with the Bullet Resist Shredder allows you to burn down camps pretty fast. I was able to take both of those safe camps and then still catch the wave here. I think I only lost about 2 minions. 3, because I didn't shoot that one right there. So about 3 minions, while taking 2 camps in the process. Getting the gold vases again. And I think here is where I make a big mistake. So I get my upgrade. I misclick it there. And here's the thing that I wanted to show off with this game as well, because this can situationally be really good, but situationally also be really bad. And in this game, it is pretty bad. So what you can do with your maxed out stun, it gives you the bonus weapon damage if you collide with a target. But that target does not have to be a hero, nor do you have to actually stun the target. So what you can do is just collide with one of those camps, then activate kinetic dash, and you'll have a lot of bonus damage on your gun, as well as a high rate of fire. And with the Siphon Life and the Bullet Resist Shredder, you actually get a 12% Bullet Resist debuff on these enemies as well. So you can, if you want to, farm the heavy camp by yourself in just about 30 to 35 seconds. But obviously that was not the play right now because we had 3 enemies pushing purple. They definitely punished me for that. This was a huge mistake on my part. I should have been there to help my team out. Again, it is just to give you an overview of, you know, my good plays, my bad plays, what I should and should not have done. In this case, I think I should have just taken the teleporter instead of clearing the heavy camp and helped my team defend purple. The other side of that, though, is that you also can't be everywhere at the same time. At some point, you're going to have to let some buildings go if you find yourself on the other side of the map. Yeah, you just can't be everywhere at once, but there is one moment where I definitely should have rotated over. And where I didn't. So got the pick on the raid there, just a quick little gank, nothing too special. We're definitely lingering here too much. I see my teammates going in. I don't really want to go in, which is why I'm just staying behind. Me staying behind here just allows me to protect my teammates from a flank. You could see the Shiv was looking for a flank there, but because I was staying behind so far, I wasn't really allowing him to get the engage that he wanted. What I wanted to do is rotate over to yellow to save that Guardian, but my team really wanted to fight, and when you're only duo or solo queue, you don't always get to decide what you do. I think going forward from here, I do start calling out in-game, just to try and see if I can steer the game a little bit into the direction that I wanted to go. But yeah, it's just a fact with, it's just a matter of the fact with solo or duo queue that sometimes the team just really wants to fight. I don't know why. Shooting heroes more fun than shooting minions, I presume, is the reason. But yeah, in those type of situations, I don't really follow. I just sort of stay far behind them, make sure they don't get flanked, and then if the enemies mess up really badly and get themselves in a position where they're still struggling, even though they're under their walker, that's when I'll probably, you know, pop my ult and going for the hard commit. So a couple kills here. We're still pretty even in this game. As I'm still roaming around, I'm sitting on 7,000 souls right now. I have not had the chance to properly buy. I will probably go to their secret now and buy an item. And if I had to guess, it would be... No, I was going to say Vampiric Burst. But instead I go for the safer picks. I go for Point Blank and Hunter's Aura. Both very, very strong items. I don't know what is going on here. My team just finds themselves in a position where we're all here. But... we're not really fighting, and you know, somebody got ganked by the Shiv for no reason. Not really sure what happened there. I came out of the shop and somebody died. So now I'm just gonna look to farm up some more. The best way to get ahead and get a lead and keep a lead in Deadlock is not to chase kills when you're ahead. It is actually just to take the map, keep control of the map. And here Kelvin seems to be in a bit of trouble, so... I tell my team that if they chase too much, we'll go for a pick. But if they don't chase, then yeah, we'll just kind of let that go. There's no reason to fight for us right now. I think here what I'm doing is I'm just staying the most deep in the lane. And that is simply something I usually wouldn't sit there. But because my teammates have been getting ganked a bit here and there, what I like to do with Abrams is put myself in a kind of a bad position. Like... if my teammates are out of position, I prefer to be out of position even more, just so that the enemies will look at me and focus me whenever they decide to go for a fight. And then I am pretty certain that I can get out, whereas if my teammates get jumped, that's not always possible. It's not the best mindset to have, because technically I am putting myself out of position in a worse spot than I otherwise could be. But if it allows me to, you know, if it allows me to save the teammates that way, then it might be worth it. And here I die for it. Here we just monkey it down all the way. And I end up drawing the shortest stick there. Now on the respawn, I see Mo and Krill is doing the urn. So I call out that we should probably do the urn in-game. Just make sure everybody is joining up. I tell the Lash to go purple though, because I don't think that we're going to need all 6 to defend this urn. And I ping that my leap is on cooldown here, just so that my teammates know that I don't necessarily have a hard engage. They're running up on the urn though, so I'm trying to take a fight here. That was a horrific stun. It completely missed the target. But one thing it did do is scare the Wraith away and make her shit out her ultimate ability. Out of, you know, she's probably traumatized from some of those other engagements. So that gives us a free urn while the opponents take blue. It's a really good push by them. If they couldn't fight for the urn, this is probably the best thing they could have done. Take the blue walker. Because, of course, if we were hard committing on the urn, we were always going to be there with at least 5 people. If we cheap out on that and only send 3, then we can get collapsed upon and give them the urn for free. If we send all 6 of us, then we just lose the whole map. But even with Lash on purple, it was not enough to push back both lanes. And yeah, they made a really good push. They got 2 walkers now. So here we're kind of going into the mid game. We're just waiting for the opponents to kind of mess up, maybe make a misplay. We're trying to catch the Shiv here, going on our side of the map. I get stuck here because I want to get up on this ledge, but I don't have any stamina. I look around, seeing if there's any good targets, and I don't really find the best engagement of my life. But I do find the Bebop, and I do find the Lady Geist as a clean double kill. And with that, I tell my team that, hey, we're so close to the Walker with these kills, we can probably take another Walker. But because his respawn time is so short, I basically yell in the mic here that we should just go boss, because I think it's very unlikely that we're going to get another objective. So the boss call here is because if you look at our lanes, they're all pushed in except for blue. So getting a Walker, it was going to be very unlikely. We'd have to push out all the lanes and then push up on the Walker, and by that time they would have already respawned. But now, with the old Kelvin bubble, we can just get boss for free after a kill. But even with the new Kelvin bubble, I think that the result would have been the same. 3 of them dead, we would have taken a 6-3-3. It would have been very, very unlikely for them to steal that boss away. Now, when we have the boss buff up, this is when the game really starts snowballing. So yes, the game was pretty even up until that point. I think it was pretty fair. Took some wins, took some losses. I still die here, but I think the team gets a very favorable trade. We get Raid, and I think that's worth it. And I think this is because of just this single boss, the game really starts to snowball into one direction from here. Because even if most of us die, we respawn, the minions push harder. We can re-engage on top of them again right after respawn, or just clear the waves, and it will just give us so much map control. So I think my team's chasing the Shiv here. We are definitely chasing kills. You can see the minions on purple are pretty much pushing by themselves. Shiv dies. And I think here, I tell my team we should probably take the orange walker, take it with the wave. It's a bit resistant here, so gotta clear the wave first. But after that, this will get us the walker, and then we will also be able to get purple walker, because the minions have also pushed in that lane now. And that will give us another flex slot for destroying all the walkers. Rejuvenator is, I think, about to run out. And only 2 of our members have it, so I'm thinking that the enemies are probably looking for a fight right now, especially because we showed 2 players on purple to take that walker. But instead of waiting there on their side of the map in the lane and just waiting to get collapsed on, or waiting to get hooked by a Bebop maybe, I tell my team, let's just run the urn, and if they want to fight for it, then it's going to be on even grounds in the open, which is also going to be very useful for our Vindicta player. Vindicta thrives a lot from fights in the lane, not so much around the boss. So if we can force a fight around the urn, there's so much open space around the urn, it's going to be a fight that's almost impossible to lose. So I'm a bit hesitant here with delivering it. I'm not necessarily looking to deliver it right away. I'm just looking for that fight in the open, which can secure us possibly the game. But I think the enemies are aware of that. They know that that is not going to work out for them, so they just forfeit the urn altogether. And that's a free urn for us. So that has really swung the game in our favor. The boss plus that urn, you can see there's about a 15,000 soul difference now. I think that is strong. That's strong enough of a lead to start buying items and basically start looking for fights. So what I'm doing here is I'm just getting a bit more money, get myself a big item. I think I'm saving up for Vampiric Burst. It has to be Vampiric Burst at this point. Just even more damage. I'm telling my team I'm really close to an item, so just sit back for a little bit. And once I hit that power spike and buy the item, I think we're going to start looking for a fight, possibly even on uneven grounds, so probably on their side of the map. But even if we don't get the fight that we want, I think... oh, I go for another heavy camp here. I think in this case, it is fine. If we look at how much map control we have. In this case, it's fine to go for a heavy camp. Especially because I'm also on the orange and yellow side of the map, where we have 2 walkers. So I think I called this out in game as well, that if the enemies want to catch up with us, if the game were to just go on forever, we would get out on top because they would not be able to scale much more because we have 2 walkers still alive. And this is what I mean with, this is what I meant with the video that I uploaded. It's the biggest mistake that I keep seeing when it comes to Deadlock. Yeah, there we go, Vampiric Burst. The biggest mistake is, like, a lot of players would probably go for fights right now on just anywhere on the map. And I think that that would be a mistake because, well, we have 2 walkers. So the longer the game goes on, the more we'll be able to skill and the more that they won't. But it seems like we don't have to even wait that long. Ooh, that was a nice parry. I'm probably going to get punished for that. I do not get punished for that. It was a really good parry by the Bebop. I was a bit cocky there with the melee. But this fight just turned on his head completely because... well, we were fighting in the lane, in the open, with Vindicta. So it's also really good for Pocket, but I don't know if he was there. I think he left after the big explosion of the fight. But yeah, fighting in the open, in the lane, against the Vindicta is generally not a favorable fight. They just ran it down. They gave us a really favorable fight where we were just able to collapse on them completely. And that probably swung the game so far in our favor that we'd have to throw incredibly hard to lose. Now, I do make a call here, and that is to burn down the Patreon and tell my team to get out. This is because almost all of them are going to be alive. And, you know, with Bebop, there might be some things they could do here to possibly bring this back. I think going back here and just not taking the fight under their Patreon is the better call, is the safer call. And this goes back to, again, that video that I made of the biggest mistake that I keep seeing. A lot of teams would just probably try to run it down. And that could work in some cases, but there's also a small chance that it doesn't work. And every fight you take in Deadlock is a chance to lose the game. So a much better way to approach this is to essentially bleed them dry. At this point, you're so far ahead, they still don't have their flex slots. At this point, if the game keeps going on basically forever, the longer it goes on, the more their position is going to look unlikely to win. So you might have a 70-30 chance of winning right at their base if you play it right. If you just wait for 10 more minutes and, you know, they don't do anything, then that chance is now 90 to 10% because you're going to have more flex slots. We have all of our slots, basically. They only have 1. If we just play defense on our side of the map, it makes it an impossible game for them. It just makes it impossible for them to win. So at this point, if we don't give them free kills, we have already won the game. We just have to sit there for 10 minutes and wait for them to push the issue, basically, until the game closes out. So this is what I would do in an actual try-hard game. I would just not take the fight. And I did actually tell my team a minute ago that the boss should be up soon. We should just farm, get our items, and prepare for boss fight. And then as soon as the boss comes up, we can just take it. So I think the general consensus is that we want to take boss. We could even use it to bait them. I put a slowing hex on this haze, but this is a bit of a risky chase. I know that as well. But yeah, we're just looking for a fight, basically. Any fight that is not a fight in their base is a good fight. So here my team chases. I tell my team to get out because this does not look like a good position for us to fight. But I get a pretty decent stun here. And a pretty decent pick. And we just have way too much damage for them. And we just run them down. So taking a fight outside of their base here is much more favorable than taking a fight inside of their base. If we took it inside their base, we might have been able to close out the game 5 minutes earlier, but at the risk of also dying. And this way, just backing off and bleeding them dry, basically, not giving them the chance to take a favorable fight on uneven grounds, just means that they can never win the game again off of a disadvantage. Or when they're not in the lead. It's how you close out games when you're ahead. So that was the first game. Now let's take a look at the second game that I have prepared for you. And here we are. This is the most recent game that I played on Abrams, I think, just before the latest patch. Although it will probably be a couple days old by the time that you see this on YouTube. In this game, I was not tryharding as much. I was just having a bit more fun with it. I was playing with my wife, who plays Ivy here. She's not really an Ivy main at all. She's played the hero a bunch of times, but it's still very much a figure it out as we go type of situation. And right off the bat, when I played against these players in the lane, I noticed that they were pretty aggressive and pretty strong. Especially the Pocket seemed to pretty much know what he was doing, even though he uses his barrage from the floor there instead of from the air. But yeah, these two guys, 7 and Pocket, just have an incredible amount of poke and just shove, a lot of lane shove. They can really just push a lane in and bully you if you let it get to that point. And again, Abrams takes a little bit of time to get online in the lane. Now that I have my stun, I can threaten these guys a bit. But yeah, they're good. This guy was sitting in the smoke. Then he double jumped up to make sure that I couldn't stun him. I could have also double jumped up and then tried to go for the stun, but it likely would not have resulted in a kill because I do not have any sustain items other than my passive sustain. So even if I were to do that, it might not have resulted in a kill, and it probably would have gone pretty poorly for me, seeing that I was only 300 health maybe. So yeah, I really needed to land the stun on the floor there to get a good enough engage. And I decided not to go for it when he jumped into the air. So here they just have so much damage. I was going to go for the melee on the minions there, but since the 7 was posturing up so confidently, I was pretty sure he was going to go for the parry. That's what a lot of players do. I'll show you a clip right here. I have one myself where players just try to parry on their minions so that when you last hit them with the melee, then you will actually get stunned, which usually results in a kill. I was very afraid that the 7 and the Pocket were going to try to do this because they were walking up so close to their minions. And so I basically could not go for the melee safely. I think I'm really feeling the pressure here of this Pocket and the 7. And yeah, they're just absolutely demolishing us with that barrage and the ball. I don't know what the ball's called. Again, as I said at the start of the video, not the cleanest laning phase. But I think it's also good to showcase these type of games where not everything is going as you want it to. Because just running it down a lane right away is obviously that you don't learn as much from that, I think. And we're going to look at both the good and the bad plays here. So yeah, we're getting harassed really hard. I probably could have gone for melee lifesteal a bit sooner. I still think they're going to parry me here, but I decided to just go for the Siphon Life with the melee lifesteal to give myself a bunch of health back. But I just instantly got put on with all of Pocket's abilities, the 7 stun. I'm just getting absolutely demolished. Now, the thing with Ivy is that as soon as you get your tether, you'll be able to buy healing right, put it on yourself or your teammate, and then use tether to heal both. So the tether, I think how it works is that it just shares the healing across 2 players. So that is actually something that we're doing here. I get super low here, and I just realized, yeah, okay, we're not going to be able to win this without healing right. And then she uses healing right on me while also tethering herself, which just allows both of us to heal. And now she can stay in the lane and last hit the minions, while I keep the healing right behind cover. Because, of course, if she gets hit while the tether is on her, then the healing right will not be interrupted. So that's a little trick for Ivy in the dual lane. I tried to go for a play here. I unfortunately missed the stun. That stun, honestly, could have hit. You know, in a different game, that would have hit. I could have played that a little better. If that hits, that Pocket probably would not have died still. Maybe not, unless Ivy also follows it up with her stone form. But it at least would have given us a lot less pressure to deal with. Maybe the Pocket would have to back. And here you can see that the Pocket went for full gun build, which is why he's just doing so much damage right now. He went for kinetic dash super early on the lane. And yeah, we're feeling it. We're feeling the pressure right now. But for the first time, and I think it is because of that healing right. Oh, that's a nice stun. For the first time since that healing right, for the first time in the lane, because of the healing right, we've been allowed to get some space back. We're recovering, and I tried to go for the pick on the pocket there, seeing if I could kill him maybe with headshot booster, but it wasn't in the cards for us today. So I also don't think we get the 7. I nearly die again almost because of his ult and his ball. Again, just a really rough start to this game. In a different game, I would have gone all of those. You know, we can pretend that I got all those kills. And here, oh, the pocket actually followed down on the underground, which that melee could have been a bit better. And I die here. I actually thought that we were going to go for these kills. The Lash kind of just walked away. I'm not sure why. I don't think he was low. He's half health right now. So I think that we probably could have gone for these kills. But either I misread that or he misread that. That is, you know, that's up for in the air. So now I'm back with full health though. This allows me to get back in the lane pretty fast. I use the 0 air friction mechanic there off the zip line to get a lot of air to push myself deep into the enemy lane. And of course an Abrams with full health and all his items bought in the lane just becomes an absolute monster. Which is how those 2 players died. I just got an insane amount of speed off the zip line by using crouch to let go, and then using the no resistance that you have, the no air resistance that you have for 2 seconds to dash really deep into the lane and confirm those kills. So here I'm getting bullied by a tree as I'm trying to rotate. Trying to go for some kills here. Let's see if it works out. I think it does. There's no way that I don't get these kills right. There's no way. Oh my god. This Vindicta player? Okay, I still get the kills. Shit, man. Almost outplayed by the TTVer. That would have not looked good on my resume. But yeah, we get the Vindicta. And just with a single pick, you can see that with monster rounds and Abrams, as you parry the Guardian, it just does so much damage. It just takes a single kill and that Guardian is gone. Although my teammate Ivy is currently struggling in the lane because both the pocket and the 7 decided to stay. Of course they did, because their Guardian isn't even dead yet. And as a result, we do lose the Guardian for it. And Ivy also dies. So this rotation I made. Yeah, hindsight is 20/20. If I came in from the other side, I definitely could have gotten some kills. I decided to go for the 7 here because, of course, the pocket has his satchel. And I think we do get the 7, but the pocket does get away. So a tower for a tower. I still think that was a good trade though. Mostly because we were already struggling in the lane so much and that Guardian had already taken so much damage. While the Guardian on yellow lane was more or less full health. And that being gone just allows us to open up the map so much more now. I do take a quick camp in between. That is simply because I want to go to the shop and that camp is there anyway. And now I'll buy Kinetic Dash and Enduring Speed. So now I'm really fast at rotating. And my goal now becomes, just like in the previous game, to help out the lanes that weren't so fortunate, that had a more difficult matchup. To, yeah, basically push in the towers, get ourselves the first flag slot early on so that I can buy Berserker early on top of Kinetic Dash without having to sell an item. And here I'm just brawling a bit. The raid tries to go for the parry after the stun, but there just isn't enough. The stun lasts too long for you to not being able to use a heavy melee right out of it. So, and here I don't even have to tank it. It just becomes a matter of burning down the Guardian. I'm getting shot by a Vindicta, but the Vindicta is not too stacked, so she doesn't have too much damage to burn me down. I try to go for the pocket here, but the Viscous Fist messes up both my combo and the pocket's combo. Yeah, Viscous really is the counter to Abrams, even if he's also on your team. But no, that's just a joke, of course. No hate towards Viscous players. Just thought that was a bit funny. And here I see they're pressuring the purple lane, or pink lane, whatever you want to call it. And so we already have taken the tower here. Our laners have done a very good job. But that doesn't mean that we can't still go in and try to look for some picks. Because if they don't see it coming and you're behind them, it's just game over for them. Poor Bebop. So this now puts us in a position where we have all Guardians eliminated. It gives us a... It should give us a soul lead, but for some reason we don't have the soul lead yet. We only have a 1k soul lead. That feels like way too little. Somewhere things went wrong and the enemies have kept up pretty well, actually. But it does give us the flex slot, which will allow some of the characters in the game to scale up a little bit better earlier. I take the casting buff. I actually think the casting buff is very useless on Abrams, but if you're not playing with an organized team of, let's say, at least 4 people, then you don't really have to decide who gets the buff. You just take it so that the enemies cannot take it. It always spawns in at 10 minutes, so always make sure to be at the bridge at 10 minutes just to get it, and then for the next 2 minutes, hopefully you'll be a bit stronger. Movement is great on Abrams. Survival is great on Abrams. Even the gun damage is very good on Abrams, but yeah, the casting buff, not so much. Although, you know, it being free, we're not just going to leave it for the enemies. So now the game has stabilized a bit. Since we have taken the Guardians, the main objective just becomes to not let them take the Guardians and to just protect my teammates. My teammates in this game like to brawl a lot as well. Even though we have the towers, we don't have to fight them at all. We can just fight under our towers anytime they try to go for a push. But if we do manage to get these picks, then something we could do is, again, take their jungle away from them. And since they are constantly fighting men down, they are staggering deaths, as you will, dying one by one by one by one by one over and over again. It just puts them in a position where they never fully have map control, even though they're not that far behind. And that just gives us the chance to just run them down completely, as we're trying to do here. This would not be possible had they not staggered their deaths. I don't think I got the skill here, but it's a lot of pressure. Yeah, this would not be possible had they not staggered their deaths, but they have. They just keep running it down, even though they're not in a position to do so anymore, and they just keep getting punished for it. Yeah, not. This is just a typical matchmaking game where players aren't really too organized and they just want to press all their buttons on enemy heroes. This is what happens when you punish them for it. And Lash even gets to raid under the Walker. That is pretty funny. So because both Bebop and Raid died here, that gives us an opportunity to take the Walker for free, which then gives us another flex slot. I am not sure how both of my teammates died there. I think they tried to push for Blue Walker when they weren't in a position to do so. But at least we'll be taking the Pink Walker here, or Purple Walker. And possibly getting yet another kill, because once again, this Bebop just doesn't want to give up. He wants to keep fighting. For some reason, even though he has 8k going in against players with 12, 13, 14k, it does not make a lot of sense. But that just allows us to get even more map control. He dies once again. And yeah, we just deny everything from them. We're denying the big camp from 7. I don't think I try to go for it because I'm way too low. But I do try to bait the 7 into another bad fight. Because, I mean, they just keep fighting. So this is definitely one way to further your lead, I'd say, in these type of games. This is a really good example of just using my melee from behind the wall. As soon as you could have probably gone out there had my movement been a bit better. But yeah, that was a perfect example of using my charged up melee from behind the wall, because they cannot see you charge it. And if you use Siphon Life at the same time, it also becomes a lot more difficult to hear it with all the other things going on in the game. And that just allowed me to get a bunch of melees off, heal up from melee lifesteal, do a ton of damage on them. And that just meant that that pocket died, even though I went into that fight with like 400 health, 300 health maybe. The 7 keeps trying to go for these camps, keeps getting caught, I guess. Or not caught. I think I misclicked my ultimate there, or I just used it to get out. I'm not sure what that was. That was not a good ultimate, but this 7 is not having a good time right now. He keeps trying to farm any camp on the map that isn't the super safe camps up in the top, because you want to save those for last. Those are like your last backup measure most of the time. And this 7 just keeps running into me. Anytime he tries to take a camp, it's not even on purpose. It's just that I beeline from purple to yellow lane and back and forth, and I just end up finding him. So poor guy, not his best game right now. A little bit unlucky. But yeah, the main purpose that I'm doing that is just to deny them the camps, basically. If I'm in a position where all the Guardians on the map are dead, that gives us a whole lot more space. It gives us access to their jungle without, you know... I think I heard something there. That's why I walked there, by the way. It gives us access to their jungle without the danger of being ganked too much, and it just pushes them back into the map so far. So here, I think we are starting to establish a pretty strong lead. I'd say 12k souls is a pretty substantial lead for matchmaking games. Obviously, if you're in a 6-man team and you have some coordinated strats, then this lead is probably nothing. But to be 12k ahead in a game with mostly just random players is, I'd say that's a very strong lead. And now it just becomes a matter of keeping this lead, which means making sure that the enemies can't walk up out of the map. It means not allowing them to get to jungle. And here they're putting a lot of pressure on me. I think they actually want to go for this fight because they've realized I'm the only one here. But abusing line of sight again and trying to charge these melees around the corner. I would have hit that. It didn't connect, but I still get a pretty good engage here with my stun instead. The moment I realized that this guy knows how to parry, I just went back. And here I use my ult to knock Vindicta out of the sky. Possibly get a double kill, and I think I do actually. I almost missed some of my shots there. Again, would have looked very bad on my resume, getting outplayed by a Thief Devier. But yeah, we got 2 clean kills, 3 clean kills there. I don't know, that Haze was just a free one. She did not decide to go back to base. But yeah, basically 2 free kills because of the fight that I took in a close quarter area. So that's always the thing with Abrams. You don't want to follow him in narrow spaces. You don't want to follow him under doorways because, again, of the pre-charge melee. And if you then parry, like, he could just stun you as well. You never really know what he's going to do. And it just becomes impossible to follow him in those tight spaces. The Pocket really wanted to because he saw it as an opportunity to get back in the game. Obviously, because there were 2, maybe 3 people there when I was alone for the majority of that. And instead they just got punished for it because the Vindicta couldn't really help out underneath there. And the Pocket just got chunked because of the stun and the melee. So yeah, you as Abrams, you really just want to... I want to just emphasize to really abuse all the tight areas, the corridors, the walls to your advantage. Had I taken that fight in the open, I would have not even gotten a single kill, of course. So here I go for Warp Stone and Point Blank. Or do I? Yes. And I sell the headshot booster. Something that I don't realize here is that my Warp Stone is put on the hotkey 1. I usually have it on 2. And I think off of memory, somewhere in this game, I tried to blink either away or towards an enemy. And I was like, oh my god, it's not working. And that's because I usually have it on 2 instead of 1. So it doesn't ask you what hotkey you want to put it on if you swap it out for another item. So if you sell Headshot Booster and buy the Warp Stone, it doesn't ask you which hotkey to put it on. I think it's here. Try to blink in and just nothing's happening. And then I realized, oh shit, that's on 1. And it just messes it up. That could have been a much cleaner kill, and then I swap it out. So be wary of that if you sell something to buy Warp Stone, that it doesn't always put it in the right slot. So here Ray tries to kill me with her ult, but at this point of the game I've already upgraded my ultimate to the max level, which of course gives it unstoppable. So anytime I get targeted by a Raid ult now and I have my ult still up, I can just counter ult and it will just negate all of that, which makes it impossible to gank Abrams basically. And ooh, that was not clean. Don't know if I want to keep that in the video. Everybody just pretended that did not happen. That's basically a free kill gone to waste right there. I think what happened is I blinked behind her, but I didn't turn the camera back around fast enough to actually confirm the stun. And yeah, here it just went full cloud mode. This guy just gets away too on the zip line. He gets off the zip line just fast enough to not get knocked down, so that was a pretty good play by him. But 2 free kills basically gone to waste. That was not a good look right there. That could have gone a bit better. Nevertheless, I don't think it will change the outcome of the game too much though, because we are 20k ahead at this point, and in either case, I have denied a lot of the soak from both the Bebop and the Haze that were trying to get soak deep into the map there. I go for the buff again. They spawn in at 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and so on. So just hitting the 20-minute mark there, making sure you're close enough to the bridge to pick up that buff just gives you 2 minutes of absolute, just complete rundown power. Your gun does so much more damage, have more RPM. I think I can just trade this guy. Yeah, that's what I end up doing. Just trading with the 7 there. Not just because of the bridge buff, obviously. The 7 is also a bit underfarmed, 21k versus 24k, but still. That gun damage and RPM, or is it just gun damage? Well, I don't know. I think it's I think it's ammo and RPM. It helps out so much. Not sure if it's gun damage. Forgot. I just know it's really good on Abrams. But yeah, with this, it's now time to push down the Guardian. I go for a blink stun, and again, do not have it. I think I lost a lot of momentum there. Something happened when I blinked in and tried to run. My character did not move for a bit, and here I got rate ulted again. Same story, you just counter ult, and you just put her up against the wall, and she is gone. This time I got my combo off properly. Yeah, once you get unstoppable in your ult, it just becomes impossible to gank you. You can even use your ult as an escape if you're in the open, just go all the way away. Unless they have a ridiculous amount of burst damage. Or unless you forget to press your ultimate ability. Yeah, you just cannot get ganked. So here I think the game slowly just starts to end. This is probably the part of the game that isn't as interesting, because now we're in a position where unless we mess up majorly, we're just going to win the game. I don't think my team should be fighting under the Guardians. This is, again, that example of things you don't want to do. The biggest mistake I keep seeing on Deadlock. I don't know why they would be fighting there. The best thing we could do right now is to just strangle the enemies, take out all the camps on the map, get the money from that, make sure we take all the waves, and just sit back and wait for them to decide which walker they want to push on, and then collapse on them as they're trying to push the walker, because fighting on our side of the map with a soul advantage, with the walker, it just becomes an impossible fight for them to win. And yeah, they've already lost the game if we don't give them the kills now, basically. And that's how I like to play. You know, aggressive early on, take an aggressive lead, and then just sit back and watch them desperately try to crawl their way back in the game. Well, it should not be possible if my team plays it right. But of course, you can see on the map, I think Lash might be going for a shrine or something. A Geist is doing Geist stuff, taking on a 1v1 against a 7. I go for another very poor blink stun here. Doesn't connect, but I still get the kill. I don't know, Lash got out. At this point, yellow is being pushed. The exact thing that I would like to punish the enemies for doing. But yeah, in this game, it just doesn't happen because, again, there's no ranked mode. There is MMR, so as you get better, you will be matched with better opponents and teammates. But even at high MMR, games somewhat end up being clown mode some of the times, especially if you don't queue at prime time. And yeah, so this is a little bit of a mess right now. But as you can see, I'm mostly just ignoring what the team is doing. I'm just farming up, because I know that if I just keep farming up and have this lead, as long as my team doesn't feed on repeat over and over and over again, we'll be fine. And I don't even have to worry that to take boss, because I'm pretty confident that with the composition that they have and with the ultimate unstoppable that I have, I should be able to take the crystal almost every single time. The only thing they can really do is like pocket, use the satchel right next to the crystal, and then pop out just before. The pocket might be good enough to do that too, because he was... I liked how he played in the lane. But then again, it's not really a reliable play, so... My god, dude, what is up with all these blink charges just not working? Yeah, just trying to play flashy, I guess, and it just is not working out. I do end up getting all these kills, because the enemies are so underfarmed, but... yeah, not the cleanest of games. But yeah, it's mostly about, you know, the macro plays, right? Knowing how to close out games, knowing how to get ahead, that sort of stuff. And even now here, I'm just like, all right, screw it. Time to run it down into their base. And if it wasn't for the cube, I would have died. So thank you very much, Viscus, for the save there. This really could have gone both ways. This is probably the best fight they could possibly take in their base. But it is just not working out for them. Yeah, so I'm sitting on 8k here. Could have gone to the shop, but I think this is pretty much the end of the game. Now, I hope that this video has been useful to you, that you got some insight on how to play Abrams in games like this. Again, either of these games could have been a lot cleaner. We made some mistakes, we made some misplays, but yeah. It's all about showing you how to realistically get ahead in games early on, how to try and take all of that momentum into the mid game. Even if you don't hit every stun, even if you don't play out perfect every single time, this will hopefully give you some insight on how Abrams can just be an absolute powerhouse during a game. and can almost be the sole decider and can almost solo just carry games. So that was some commentary breakdown. If you want me to do more of these in the future to go along with the guides, or if you want me to change anything about the format, then definitely let me know. This is a first time doing this. My live commentary may have been a little sloppy even. I usually write scripts when it comes to commentary just so I don't stumble over my own words. But if you enjoyed this and if you want to see more, or if you want to see something changed about them, definitely do let me know. I read a lot of the comments, even though I don't have the time to reply to all of them. So yeah, again, thank you very much for watching. Hope it helped, and you will see me very soon. Bye guys.